We saw yesterday dramatic scenes emerging from the Tshwane Council. We brought you live those scenes here on Full View. And this, of course, was when Dr. Murunwa Makwarela was actually elected as the mayor of the city of Tshwane. Of course, the opposition had put in place its own candidate. That's the multi-party coalition government. And they had Sillius Brink, who they wanted to be mayor. But we saw, of course, the end there, Dr. Makwarela emerging. But we then got concerns from some who were reacting to this, calling him basically a proxy for some of those who were instrumental when it comes to his election. He joins us in studio now to give us a sense of just what are some of his priorities as he goes into his role. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Makwarela, and congratulations.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate the moment to come and actually share what actually happened yesterday with the viewers.
Did you see that happen, though? Because a number of people seem to think that the odds were against any other candidate that may have been put in place, and the multi-party government, their candidate was going to take it.
Yeah, I think this is teaching all of us some few lessons. There's a whole lot of things that I think we must actually take some time to learn from the events of yesterday and elsewhere. I think what you have seen yesterday is that there are some people that are quite pragmatic, that they have decided to vote, out of their own conscience. They realize what the AG report has actually painted. It painted a bleak picture, in that, the finances of the city were irregularly and in a wasteful manner used in such a manner that it actually robbed the residents of their so much needed services, essential services. So effectively, that's basically what happened. People are not robots. And I think people are becoming practical, because if we don't turn the situation around as soon as yesterday, this city is as good as dead.
Did you work with them, though? Did you work with the ANC and the EFF? Because there were concerns, I'm sure you saw that in that statement, and there was a motion of no confidence, which was also pending against yourselves. You were seen as if you were working with the ANC and the EFF.
Not really. Actually, I would tell you that I only learned 30 minutes before council that I'm their preferred candidate. I think you can check out with the EFF and ANC. They will corroborate this story. So they informed me. I was not even intending to stand, by the way. I only have one seat, and there's no way that I can actually muster to convince 10 parties. The previous coalition government where I was at, it was actually comprised of 6 parties, including ourselves. And of course, we were chucked down the streets like orphans, so unceremoniously dished, and then thereafter people call us names.
What happened there? Why were you unceremoniously ditched?
I think that question can be best asked.
They didn't tell you?
Not really. Actually, we had a media briefing this morning
I remember
with our national spokesperson and our deputy president and other leaders, where they were actually setting the record straight. So I think we have bullies in that situation. I don't know. It's actually
Who are the bullies?
Obviously the DA and the Freedom Front Plus. And now they are resorting to calling us names and stuff like that. I mean, we are an independent party. We have our own values that drive our day-to-day activities. In so much as we were part of the coalition, that doesn't mean that our values were swallowed up. And actually, it's becoming quite, transparent that that coalition, it cannibalizes small parties. And when people begin to call others proxies and stuff like that, that's, they talking from experience. So when we are there, small parties actually, they are snowed under. Our views, in as much as they are, realistic, are not taken into cognizance.
So you've got one seat, you've admitted to that, and you say that you could not have convinced all these parties to then work with you. So are they wrong, though, when they see you as a proxy? Because we've now seen some of those who are on the other side saying they're going to make things very difficult for you. You
see, that is the situation. People have not learned that these are coalition arrangements. It's multi-party coalition arrangement. There is no party that won elections here. And there's no party that has the right to govern. All of us, we have to govern. I think we must establish a new system that, embraces everybody and also appreciate the variety of skills that we all possess. Some people could be many, but they don't necessarily have the requisite skills to govern. The numbers doesn't mean that you have the requisite skills to govern. We have been in the local government space, even in state-owned entities. So in terms of governance, good governance practices, some of us actually have that. And actually I've seen schoolboy errors that is performed by some of the coalition members. But the most important thing is that residents do not have services. It's a fact.
And I'm going to come to that. Let's then iron out this one as we put it to finality. So you did get the help from the ANC and the EFF. You did also get help from some of those who are in this multi-party government. Are you saying, though, that it is incorrect to view you as a proxy?
I think that's quite patronizing. You know, I find it quite patronizing. You know, I'm not a bionic man. You know, I'm a human being, and I've got ideas. And I think some people must be schooled. You know, the Congress of the People was formed from the ANC. So that's my erstwhile party. And the comrades that I'm working with are not strangers to me. There are people that I've been, you know, on the ground in the trenches with, you know, in my past life. So you know, we are stuck in a rock and a hard place. So if we were to choose the ANC, the EFF, and the DA, so I hate to say better the devil you know than the devil you don't.
So what then happens, because ultimately you spoke about service delivery, and before we get to that, what becomes your one priority as you go into this?
It's essential services. So I can break it down. Let's fix our potholes. Let's get our street lights working. Let's get our waste management working, waste removal services. Let's also make sure that our city is safe. Let's clean our parks. Let's remove all the litter in the city. Those are low-hanging fruits. You don't need billions to do that. You just need partnerships. You also need extra pair of hands. You need environmental awareness to ensure that some of these things are done. Report wrongdoing in the city and then apprehend the culprits. Let's get our women and children safe.
Will you be able to have the kind of support that you need to do that, given some of the sentiment that's arising around you, saying that, you know, some saying they're not going to make things easy for you, others are saying that there's going to be fireworks going in, you know, to your mayoralship. So are we going to then see service delivery being prioritized, or will the residents of Tshwane once again be subjected to politics in council versus service delivery?
You see, this is not about political theatrics. It's about service delivery. Local government exists to actually expand services to the people. Now, you can see that some people are actually interested in other funny businesses than extending services to our people. I'm happy that the people that we have finally come together, we all have a common denominator, which is the interest of our people at heart.
How do you begin to deal then with the AG's report?
This is very important as well, because you see, we need to, you know, obviously in terms of the law, the executive mayor has the responsibility to see to it that the recommendations of the AG are implemented. So that is something that we must pay attention to. Actually, the next audit cycle, it's in the next 4 months or so, will be upon us. And I doubt if we would have, you know, managed to turn the situation around that fast. So it could get even worse.
And the report is quite damning, though, and it's one thing to implement the recommendations, but it's another to see people in orange overalls.
That there has to be consequence management. I mean, the AG has said and bemoaned the fact that, you know, she has made some recommendations. But we have seen, I was part of that government. We spoke about, even in our coalition agreements, we said there will be consequence management. The only thing that smelled like consequence management is when the mayor was forced to jump. And you have seen how erratic and how, you know, pedestrian that process was handled. 2 letters, and that also brought the whole council into disrepute. That was something that smells like consequence management, so they say. But other things like officials and companies that got paid without even, you know, doing their work, there's nothing that was done about it.
Are you coming after them?
We have to.
So let's then look at, you know, announcing, of course, which is going to be quite key, the people that are going to be serving with you in the city to be able to realize this vision that you have to make sure that residents have essential services. Have you thought about who goes into the mayoral committee and how involved will the ANC and EFF be in that mayoral committee?
Look, like I said, I'm a one-party executive mayor. We are actually in discussions, deep in discussions. The parties, one thing that I've asked, they have actually requested that or allowed me the latitude to pick my preferences. But the most important thing, what I asked them is that in whatever portfolio we agree to have or to share, let them advance somebody who has the prerequisite skills to politically lead that particular portfolio.
And I think, of course, that is going to be quite important, particularly when you look at how, services need to be delivered and rendered to these various municipalities. But when you then look at the council and the people that you're thinking about, and even some of those that you're serving with in council, do you think you've got these skills at hand?
Well, when I look at the pool of the ANC, there's depth there. There's a lot of depth. Even the EFF, most of the councillors that were there are not, they are multiple political terms councillors. So they have the grasps of what is expected of them. And most importantly, they have the zeal to deliver services. And I think it's a common knowledge and sense that all the parties at this present juncture want to do well, leading to 2024 provincial and national elections. It
looks like now there's a hunt for those who voted for you from the multi-party, arrangement. I wonder what is your view on that? Because we almost did see this one coming.
Well, I think I cannot speak on behalf of the hunters and the hunted. That's their business to deal with. We have a service delivery to focus on.
Let's then look at, of course, when it comes to, this particular issue of this multi-party government that you've just come out of, and you say that, and I was listening to that press briefing earlier, and there was quite a lot of questions about what exactly is going on there. You've just come out of it. Is it as stable as we are hearing in the public domain that it is or it should be?
You mean the previous
the multi-party coalition? Is it as stable right now, as you're looking at it coming from inside it? Is it as stable as we are told it is?
It's not. It's fallacy. It's just PR exercise. I mean, just yesterday, it attests to how unstable this thing is. So people are just looking at numbers, arithmetics, and then they say we're stable. Doesn't work that way in real life.
So for you, it doesn't look like the center is holding, because we've spoken to some of them here on the show, and that's why I ask you, and they continue to say there might be a difference of opinion, but it doesn't mean that they are disintegrating, kind of. So that's why I'm trying to get a sense from someone who was inside. Is it disintegrating, or is it just a difference of opinion and they'll come back together on the table and fix things?
Let me tell you, it's not about coming together. It's about what the AG said. The AG said we are not a going concern. So they can gather to scatter again. They failed to deliver services to the people. I was there playing oversight, and we were actually overlooked. We kept on reminding people that people are not doing what they're supposed to do. Our annual report, I mean, look, there's just schoolboy errors left and right. It is just the norm. The annual report that we tabled, it was actually a lie. There was an annexure there by an independent auditor. He actually whispered to me that, that annexure is not his. Cameron Ellis, the chairperson of the Audit Performance Committee, he whispered to me, he said, the mayor has actually included a wrong annexure. So, and I refused to go into public participation because the speaker is the one who's charged with the mandate to go into public participation insofar as the annual report is concerned for 60 days. And I said, this report has to be rescinded so that we can get the APC chairperson, Cameron Ellis, to table the correct report so that we can rescind the wrong one. You can imagine. So these are liars. These are people who are actually misleading the public. And yet they say they uphold the values of accountability, transparency, and so on. So the public is just being misled. It's a mess what's happening there. You need to pay attention to the AG report one more time.
And we'll definitely be sitting with you, hopefully come to your office and sit and peruse through that AG report and get a sense from you on what the plan is when it comes to all these, these points that they're raising. And hopefully we get to have a longer discussion with you in your office, taking you around Tshwane to see what exactly is happening. But thank you so much for coming through. Do appreciate it. That is the newly elected mayor of the city of Tshwane, Dr. Murunwa Makwarela.